everybody, Dr. Rick dropping in on you. I hope everybody is having a great start to your week. No matter where you're at, no matter how it looks right now, remember what I always say. If you're still breathing, you're still in the fight. You're going to have to forgive my voice. It's been a busy day. I've had a lot of work to put in with content and with sessions with my clients. So my voice is a little raspy. It may clear up. It does some real crazy things, but it may clear up or it may get worse. But I'm not going to be long. Look, I want to talk to you. I'm real excited. Those of you who have followed me for any time, you know that I am a prolific writer. I love to write. I have written and published 27 books. Book number 28 is coming on the 1st, and to celebrate it, I'm having a live symposium on the contents in that book. The name of the book is Healed and Whole, and it's so much more than it gives on the surface. Healed and Whole is so much more than what we always talk about, our dietary intake, our nutritional intake, our activity, getting active, getting in the gym, working out. Those things are extremely important. We talk about mental attitude on a surface level, and that's important as well. But we don't talk about the true connectivity, the connectivity between the environment and our health, the ability of our mind to create an environment, even in situations where things aren't going well, how we can literally use our mind and our thinking to alleviate chronic stress. Chronic stress is one of the most devastating forces in overall health outcomes. I started over 30 years ago researching generational trauma. It was predominantly along the lines of what traditional blacks in America, the foundational blacks in America, are the descendants of slaves, and how that played a role. Slavery played a role in certain behaviors, in certain situations, certain deficits that were consistently evident. And it was to combat the argument that it had been 100 plus years. Back then it was 120 years. Now it's been 100 and almost 40. But it was to combat that and to say, okay, this is why. And while it isn't an excuse, it explains some things, and these are the things we're going to have to deal with if we're ever going to get to a certain space. And to address that, well, along the lines, I found epigenetics, and epigenetics introduced me into adverse childhood experiences, and all these things introduced me to how our environment impacts our overall health outcomes. I learned that our environment and how we experience it has more of an impact on diseases than, for instance, cancer, than carcinogens or diet. Stress attacks the autoimmune system. Stress attacks the genes and how they function. Stress interferes with how our genes are able to decode and transcribe our DNA for the purpose of fighting off sicknesses, for the purpose of reproducing healthy cells. All of these different things come from the ability of genes to decode, transcribe, interpret, and execute what the DNA tells it to do. And this goes on for a lifetime. And the more we encounter stress, the less efficient these particular genes work. And what will happen is stress can literally downregulate healthy genes like autoimmune genes or your immune system genes, and what will end up happening is it'll upregulate disease genes that are going to make it more likely that you develop some form of illness, whatever that illness is, and it reduces the ability to fight off all types of sicknesses. And this happens strictly based on environment. And so what I found was initially disparaging, because it's looking at all these things, and we've been through it. You can't take it away. We've been through it. We're living it. A lot of us live it every day. We are literally bringing the bear and the tiger and whatever used to be what triggered our limbic system to go into fight or flight, we now bring it home with us every day. We carry it wherever we go, because it's not the bear or the tiger anymore. It's the bills, it's the relationships, it's the fear of a foreshortened future, it's the fear of all these different things that are constantly there, not knowing how to manage them. It's a fear of feeling powerlessness and the anxiety and the trepidation that goes along with it. And what we know, and what I've been able to determine and write about in depth and teach to my clients with great effectiveness and outcomes, is just as these negative influences have negatively impacted our health, we can literally reverse that by creating positive environments. And sometimes people are going like, well, how do I create a positive environment when I don't control it? You don't control the physical environment all the time. But what you do control is your mind, which determines how you interpret that environment. It determines how you see it in the long-term impact in your life. If you see it as simply a challenge that you will overcome, it changes how you process it. But if you see it as a thing that's going to cause you literally living hell, you're going to literally experience hell here on earth. And that's the thing that I want to help people avoid. Help people avoid experiencing hell on earth. To me, that's the hell. The thing is, you have all these things at your exposure. And what bothers me the most as a person of faith, and I'm not going to tell you how to engage your faith, how you need to view the source, the God of this universe. That's not for me to do right here. What it is to say is, you cannot have a faith in something so powerful and consistently act so helpless. I hear people of faith talking all the time, and then about how much they believe in God, and then worrying and stressing and be anxious for nothing, and everything by prayer and supplication make your request known unto God, and the peace of God which surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. And then it goes on to tell you, how do you do it? Meditate on that thing that is pure, that thing that is lovely, that thing that is of good report, and on and on. And it's telling you to do these things, and it tells you that when you focus on that, and what we realize now is when we focus on the good things and not the bad things, we elevate the frequency at which we operate. Our thoughts have frequency. Our emotions have a frequency. And this frequency is directly conducive to the type of health we're going to experience. If I'm constantly angry, if I'm constantly stressed out, if I'm constantly worried, if I'm constantly afraid, all of these create a very low frequency around 200 hertz or lower. And it is directly correlated with poor health outcomes. It just is. This frequency, once you get up to around 460 hertz, all of a sudden things change. And we know now that we can create these environments even in difficult times. It's not the times that creates the frequency, it's the interpretation of the time. It's the processing and the framing and the contextualization of the time. We're now learning that we can literally create environments by the way we think, by the way we manage our thoughts, by the way we manage and regulate our emotions. We have far more power than we believe. What does 2 Corinthians chapter 10, 3-5 tell us? It says, though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they're mighty in God for the pulling down of stronghold, casting down arguments and every thing that exalts itself in the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity. Bringing every thought into captivity, casting down arguments. The old folks used to do it like this. You would say something that they didn't agree with. You would speak something into their life that they didn't want to accept. They didn't just sit there and go openly. They sit up there and openly rebuked it. They openly spoke against it. They sit up and cast it down. That's casting the argument. The way they did it says, I rebuke that. And they would, and if you come from a Christian background, say, I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. What they were saying is, I'm not accepting it and I'm speaking against it. Because what did Eliphaz tell Job when he was having his issues and going through the things he was going through? He said, you shall declare a thing and it shall be established for you, and the light will shine upon the path so that you may have good success. What is it saying? Saying you have some power outside of what you are seeing. And then what does it say about faith? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You're focusing so much on what's seen, you're failing to look at what's not seen, what's possible when you set your mind to it, when you start to declare, when you start to believe, when you start to move towards things. That's the things that we need to be looking at. Those are the things that we need to be standing on. I want you to experience something immensely powerful. This symposium will be explosive. It will be interactive. We will table discussions. We will do a lot. Click the link in the description box and determine whether you want the general admission or you want the VIP. The differences will be explained, but one thing I can tell you is the first 20 people, we already had a few sign up, but the first 20 to sign up will get a free rapid transformation session with yours truly. And that is a $550 value at absolutely no charge. So you're already ahead of the game if you sign up for either one, the VIP or the general admission. But VIP, you're going to get 3 sessions with yours truly. Also, something to realize is if we hit 50 attendees, the 50th person to register will trigger a raffle where I will give away a $14,000 platinum package. I'm saying 15 because that's what it's going up to in July. $14,000 package. That's a 12-month, 52 session, raw, intense engagement with yours truly, where we literally walk step by step to get you to where you're trying to go. And I have an immensely high success rate, over 99%. I get the job done. And so that's the opportunity. Show up, be there, be present. I promise you, your life will change. In that 90-minute time frame, you will not leave the same. Ask anybody that's ever attended any one of these events I've given, whether it's been live and in person, live on some form of virtual experience, they will tell you, you will not leave the same. I want to see you there. On that note, I'm out of here. As I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E, and I'm challenging you to do the same thing.